This is the Sell Your Brand Show with James Bray and Mike Killen, the one-stop shop for creative solopreneurs and startups to get the best practical advice on how to build, how to brand, and how to sell online products and content. Let's get to it.
Hey there guys, I'm Mike from Sell Your Service.
And I'm James from Brand Snack.
And this week we are talking about the money... fuck that up straight away. This week we're talking about the money episode.
We're talking about the money episode. Money, 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 money.
This week is the money episode where we're going to be talking about getting out of debt and getting out of a negative cash flow cycle.
I was going to say, you're talking about last week at the end of the audio.
Yeah, the audio
book.
Yeah, the guy was like, I fucked it up.
You done it in the first 2 seconds of the podcast.
Yes, James, but the difference is that I know that I'm not good at this job. That's the difference. I'm not a paid professional voiceover artist.
You should be.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm really good. Yeah, I have been basically looking at the courses for Brand Snack.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to basically develop it out and make it into a much more useful resource area for people to come, like broken up into topics. The idea for Brand Snack was to make individual elements of branding easy to digest and simple.
Cool. Okay.
I don't think I've quite done that yet.
Right.
With what I've got out there. I think my blog posts do it well, but I don't think my actual paid content does.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been looking at a way to make learning all of the steps necessary to brand a business much more simple, much more easily digestible.
Wow.
So yeah, I've actually got some big things coming up now.
Cool.
So I'm really excited. There's a lot of work to do, so it won't be ready for a while yet, but I'm in the beginning stages of getting it ready. So yeah, really excited.
Oh, cool.
How about yourself, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Did I talk about the stag do we went on last week on Saturday?
Oh no, you said you were going. Yes.
Hell.
What happened?
Right. So
you're throwing axes, weren't you?
Yeah, we did. It was really good. It's when I say easy, you pick it up easier than you think. Now, when I first told my mum, she was like, "You're throwing axes at each other." And I went, "No." She assumed it was like paintball.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, "No, mum."
That is medieval.
It's like, what the fuck? No, mum. Not what? It's not. Yeah, it's fucking good fun, but not many return customers, right? So no, it's kind of like archery. And you have
Where's John? He didn't make it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about John.
The good news is that John's still got his left arm,
Yeah.
right. And so we went to London and we did this. Apparently, the way to tell if someone spent long enough time out of London, because you're from Peckham,
yep.
So I'm from Lewisham,
yep.
Right? I apparently have spent long enough time out of London now because I'll say to someone, "Oh yeah, we did this thing in Vauxhall," or we did the axe throwing in Vauxhall. People from London, they don't give a fuck. They go, "You're in London," and then you go either south of the river or north of the river. That's about it, really. But yeah, I was like, so we were in Vauxhall. We did this axe throwing. It's about 30 feet, and then you have this huge wooden target, and you learn to throw these hatchet-style axes, and It was really good fun. Actually, yeah, it was brilliant. We did it about 5 o'clock, so I think by the end, it's about an hour and a half, and we had a tournament. It was about 14 of us, and by the end, like, I think the guys were like, "Oh, let's go have some drinks and stuff to eat and stuff." So that was good. But yeah, that was brilliant. We stayed in a hostel, which I haven't done in
at least
probably
2 weeks.
Which I haven't done in over a fortnight. Probably almost 10 years, maybe.
Oh yeah. Was it as you remembered it?
Hostels have changed a lot. This one was 100 times nicer than any of the shit that I'd ever stayed in.
I remember 10 years ago, hostels were pretty awful.
Well, this was 14 quid a night, right, for a bed.
Okay.
And I was like, how can they make any money? I'll tell you how they fucking make money. By stacking you in like sardines. The bunk beds were triple bunk beds. Yeah, so you like literally had to like slide yourself in. Like there was no sitting room.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like some kind of coffin.
It kind of was a little bit. It was like a little pod that you sort of like slide yourself onto a shelf.
Awful.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was fine. I mean, I got no fucking sleep because it's a hostel, obviously. But
so that £14 was well worth it.
Well, it was. I was like, in fact, that was. I made that decision that night. I was like, I don't give a shit about this anymore. I'm 30 years old. I don't care about saving a few quid next time. If people go, oh, you're coming out for a stag, do you mind going for a hostel? And that was my fault because I was the best man, so I booked it. But I can't as the best man go, well, I've booked it here. I'm off to the fucking Sheraton for a night.
Enjoy, guys.
Like, lovely. 250 quid a night for this.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was like, from a camaraderie perspective, because we were all in one room, which was kind of cool. That was quite good. It was good fun, but even then I was like, oh, this is the mattress. It was fucking horrible. Anyway, the club, right? So clubbing in London has changed quite a lot, I've noticed.
Oh, yeah.
I turned up wearing almost, in fact, I was wearing the identical clothes I'm wearing today. So a running sort of sports top, a t-shirt, pair of jeans, and I didn't have my skate shoes on. I had a pair of running trainers.
Right.
I looked like a 45-year-old dad who was picking his kids up from school, right? The only thing that was missing was a golf cap and a bum bag, right? And the lad said, oh, mate, they're never going to fucking let you in wearing that. And I was like, well, fine. I don't really give a shit. I didn't drink for the entire night. I don't really drink anyway, but I didn't drink. So I was like, that's fine. I'll just go back. There were 14 of us, so a group of 14 lads, right? Again, back in my day, they'd be like, you'd have to go in groups and split it up.
Yeah,
so I was like, there's no fucking way they're letting you in, especially wearing that. They've got these new ID stuff in London where you have to scan your card, your ID, and it brings your photo up on the thing in case you get kicked out. So it's like a security network. A couple of them didn't have that. They were like, well, fuck it, come on in. So they ended up letting us in, despite the fact how we looked. We were just super casual, big group of us. I'll tell you why they let you in. Because it costs £14 per fucking ticket to get into the fucking club.
Wow.
That's why. So they're like, we don't give a shit. Knock yourself out, mate.
You could be wearing a bin bag.
It's only 30-year-old men who are able to fucking afford to come in here in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
We went downstairs to put our coats up. That was £3 per item. My mate Alex, who had a scarf, tried to stuff it into his sleeve. And the woman was like, it's £3 per item. So actually, that'll be £6. He was like, I've spent 21 quid in this fucking club and I haven't had a drink yet. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
It was fine. It was a good night. It was good to see some of the boys. I haven't seen them in a long time. But yeah, definitely, it's changed, man. I'm not...
Talking about negative cash flow side.
Yeah, well, there you go. It's not that far off.
That's
really,
run right into it nicely, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's kind of what we want to talk about today. I think running a business has this weird thing where we have money coming in, not as much as we used to when we had jobs, but we sort of get ourselves into debt and we kind of think, yeah, but I'll grow the business. Now, what I found is that even though I was earning more money, I still didn't have any more money to spare.
Yep.
And typically we call that a negative cash flow cycle, which is where as our income increases, our expenses also increase as well.
Yep.
A lot of people say, yeah, it takes money to make money. That's par for the course. It's not. It's bullshit. It's bad money management, basically, is what it comes down to. And money is one of the few things where you are totally in control of it. You are totally in control of your own money. Completely. 100%. No one else's but yours. So I wanted to talk about how to get out of debt and how to get out of a negative cycle. It's much more simple than people think.
Okay.
And then maybe in some future we can talk about like growing these positive assets and money cycles. I don't know if for legal reasons. I'm not like a financial advisor.
Yeah, let's put it in anyway.
Yeah,
Mike is by no means any form of legal financial advisor.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. Trust me.
Yeah. James is often correcting the way that I spell finance and money.
Yeah.
Monies. And yeah, I wanted to start off with a few definitions.
Okay.
Cool.
Start off with a bang, Mike. Let's do it.
Yeah. What I know is what gets people listening is one, tuning in, going, "Oh, he's going to talk about money," and then hearing a man rant about the price of clubbing in London,
and
then
you're
going to think, "Well, he might have something good in a minute." I want to go through some glossary terms. Brilliant.
Let me just open up page 43 of the dictionary.
Yeah. Right. So we're going to go through the Oxford Dictionary.
Yeah.
Well, actually, see, this is kind of the point. It's that dictionaries, accountants, bookkeepers, we talked about this last week. I did this fucking bookkeeping audio course. A lot of the definitions are incorrect. It's easy for me to say that because who the fuck am I? Like, I don't have any pull within any financial system. And yet, fundamentally, what your bank calls an asset or a liability or cash flow or debt is wrong.
Right.
And until people change their perception of what these actual words mean, they won't get any better.
Right.
The biggest thing that I see is that people have a nice car, a nice house, they have a flat screen TV, they've got all this shit. A bank will say those are your assets. You've bought them, you have them, those are your assets. Your house is an asset. The biggest lie that we are told in the Western Hemisphere is that buying a house is your biggest asset. And it's not.
Mm-hmm.
A house is not an asset. None of that shit is assets. And I'll tell you why. An asset, by definition, is something that puts money in your pocket.
Yep.
That is it. That is stone cold it. You and I both have mortgages. So far, the bank has yet to put any money in my pocket.
Yeah.
Right? And people go, oh, yeah, no, but in 25 years it will. Will it? Like, do you know that?
Yeah.
You don't know that. That is absolutely speculation.
Mm.
There's no fact there whatsoever. And I'll argue to the death, and I have done. With
Poor John.
With yeah, with estate agents who go, no, property's where you want to put your money. You're talking out your ass. One, you don't own any property yourself. You have a mortgage. Where's your fucking property portfolio? There's a big difference in your business owning 2 houses that people rent.
Yeah, and you're getting money back in from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even if their rent just pays the mortgage,
Yep.
There's a huge difference in that compared to me having to fork out 900 quid to Nationwide, I think we're with, to have my house.
Yep.
I don't own my house. My bank owns my house.
Yeah.
The house is an asset to the bank.
Yeah.
It generates them 900 quid every single month.
Yep.
No matter what.
And over like 25 years, they're probably going to earn about like, I don't know, 30-40% in profit.
Another big thing, interest rates. People go, oh, you know, because at the moment, technically ours is 1 point above base, which means at the moment interest rates are at 0.5%, which means that I'm paying 1.5% interest. No, I'm not. I'm probably paying closer to 40 to 50% interest. The house is worth whatever 200 grand. In 25 years, I promise you that I will not have paid £220,000.
Yeah.
I would have paid probably close to 400,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's another thing. Interest rates aren't 1.5% or 3%. When you borrow money, they're closer to about 40 to 50 to 60%. Okay.
Yeah.
Big difference. So that's what an asset is. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket. To give an example of a couple of things that are assets, we talked about property. That's probably not the first thing you're going to be able to buy to generate money.
Yep.
An online course
Yeah.
that just generates revenue. You know, ebooks.
Yep.
Investing
Anything
in,
that you can sell
Yeah.
repeatedly to cover costs and make profit
Yep.
is an asset.
is essentially an asset.
Yeah.
It's even better if you've got nothing to do with it, which is we'll talk about the difference between an asset and income.
Mm-hmm.
One of my coaching contracts, for example, is a couple of $1,000s a month, is not an asset because I have to deliver it. I have to sit down, physically write out everything, bill the customers, send it out. A lot of my coaching and course businesses probably wouldn't be considered assets because I still have to deliver it.
Yep.
If you want to be really strict, the strictest definition of an asset is something that still generates money when you don't pay attention to it.
Mm.
If I had a
Investments.
investments, stocks,
Yeah.
shares,
So if you're
mutual funds,
doing well with them,
Yep.
and you know what you're doing with them, then they can
And,
be a very good asset.
Exactly. That is an asset. The stuff you own is not an asset. That is a liability. So a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. What people do is they invest in liabilities like credit cards to buy expenses such as TVs and holidays and shit. And they end up spending all their money trying to pay off their liabilities, pay off their expenses.
Yep.
That's the negative cash flow cycle, basically. Middle class is probably worse at this than anyone because they feel that they need to have a new set of golf clubs. You know, they really should go away this year because otherwise the neighbors will think they're poor and stuff. My stepfather, I'll give it to him, hands down, does not give a flying fuck about any of that stuff. It drives my mother mental because he's like, I don't care if the neighbors have got a fucking new car. We don't need one. Okay, we don't need a new car. This one is absolutely fine, and I don't want to do it to just show off to the neighbors. Now, he does it to the nth degree where I reckon if he had bought the house that we're in now, it wouldn't have changed in 25 years. Right? It literally wouldn't have changed. So he's maybe on the extreme. But anything that takes money out of your pockets is liabilities. liabilities you can't get money back from.
Yep.
Ever. People go, oh yeah, you can sell them. Yeah, fucking. All right. If you've got it done so fucking brilliantly, if you've worked it out, keep doing what you're doing then.
But you'll never sell them for anything more than what you bought them for. So you've always lost money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're always losing money. Debt is basically trust. Debt people think is borrowed money, and it's not. Debt is trust. Your bank trusts you to pay back a mortgage. Okay, they do that by saying we're going to extend you a line of £250,000 or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what trust is. Debt becomes bad when the debt is paying off expenses and liabilities. That's when it becomes bad.
Right. Yeah.
Debt becomes really good. If I take a £200,000 mortgage and I know that that's going to cost me 900 quid a month, but the rent on the house is 1,100 a month and I have 200 quid coming into my pocket every single month, no matter what, that's good debt.
I was going to say, if you think about Facebook ads,
yeah,
it's quite a similar principle there. So you've taken money out, so you're in debt for that amount. You've then put it into the Facebook ads, and they then run, and then they generate conversions, which then, if you're paying off that cost for that, so you're breaking even, then anything you make on top of that, that's then not, I don't know if it's exactly the same, but it's not then an expense to you.
Absolutely.
It's an asset because you paid money to make money.
Yeah, you're absolutely in the right area. It's not, I think there's certain areas where there's a bit of a grey area. You are absolutely bang on the money, though. There's no reason why debt has to be yours.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm going to take out a mortgage, this is another thing as well. If you don't have in the UK a limited liability company, or in America we call it a C corporation, get one. Get one straight away, because your business can own so much more than you do. Rich people own very little. They actually don't own a lot of stuff. Warren Buffett doesn't own his car, his company does.
Yeah.
I think he owns his house and that's it.
Okay.
Like, he doesn't own a lot of stuff. His company buys everything. And before anyone goes, oh yeah, but you know, it's very expensive, we'll talk about that on another one. The reality is, if you are genuinely serious about getting yourself out of debt and out of a negative cash flow cycle, you need to look at starting a limited liability company, and you need to start reading more about the advantages of doing it. There's a big reason why it's not Bill Gates Co. at Microsoft and he's not a sole trader. Yeah. There's reasons why wealthy people do it. So anyway, that's the difference between assets and liability.
Okay.
Cash flow is what basically comes through your business. It is not the same as income.
Yep.
Cash flow is a funny one because some people call it like revenue, I guess.
Okay.
But I think the strictest way is to understand when money comes into you and you know you can do something with it. Where does it go? Does it go in assets? Does it go on liabilities? Does it go in expenses? Or is it like just disappear? The way that cash flow works is basically it's designed to balance an asset and a liability. The house that the bank owns is an asset to them. So cash will flow from a liability into an asset. It's my liability into their asset.
Yeah.
That's what cash flow is literally the flow of cash around all these different assets and liabilities. If I have sell books, for example, which I do, it's not a great example, but the asset is my book. But if someone buys it, it's a liability to them.
Yep. Because they've spent money.
Because they've spent money on it.
Yep.
Now, books and education and courses and stuff, we'll come on to that later, is actually one of the best things you can invest in. But let's say that I have a little widget, you know, it's just a little gadget or something, and it's physical, it's just to entertain people or whatever. That's an asset to me because it generates money, but it becomes a liability to someone else.
Yep.
That flow of cash is moving it from liability into asset, so from their liability into my asset. That's what cash flow is.
Okay.
I want to increase that cash flow as much as possible, and I want to keep as much as possible. $100,000
so that's why
a
you
day.
need more assets than liabilities
100%.
to increase the cash flow into your assets.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
And you're trying to increase your assets from other people's liabilities to pay off your liabilities. You want to reduce your liabilities and increase your assets.
Yep.
Again, we talked about this last week. Terry Crews didn't get in the shape that he is by going to the gym once for 30 hours. He does it by going to the gym every single day for an hour. Now I think he actually does 6 hours a day, but repeatedly doing that one thing. And the reality is now we can put, there's no minimum spend on stocks and shares bonds.
Yep.
Stocks and share accounts, sorry. So you can start to build this stuff up, but we'll talk about that in a bit later. Income is whatever comes into your business and that you have personally generated work for.
Yep.
All right. So, you know, and that's personal income would be considered the same thing. So income to the business would be like, James has done 5 hours work, therefore we pay him, 5 hours times his hourly rate or whatever that is. Or if you're, at a point where you can be employed by your business and they just pay you an income, that's money to you personally for doing work with the business. That's money that comes into you personally, but you have to show up.
Yeah.
You have to be there. Passive income, on the other hand, is when you own an asset or a business and the money comes to you whether you're not there.
Yeah.
If I manage to hire a decent manager and estate manager and all this kind of shit for the couple of houses that we own, and it works out well, and I can go on holiday for 5 weeks and come back and the mortgage has still been paid twice and everything else has been taken care of, that's passive income.
Yep. My
book is passive income. I don't have to do anything. It just generates me revenue now.
Yep.
All right. The big difference between income and passive income. So yeah, those are some definitions, and some people probably listening to this are going to be going, "This is horseshit already. I don't agree with any of this." You're wrong. I'm right. I'm really sorry to say this. 100% argue with anyone who's made money. I guarantee these definitions are correct.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk actually about Robert Kiyosaki later. A lot of this stuff is from him.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this stuff is from George Glasson.
Yep.
A lot of this stuff's from Napoleon Hill from Think and Grow Rich. So
Yep.
George Glasson wrote The Richest Man in Babylon. What we are taught are assets and liabilities is fundamentally incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
And we're taught to, we should buy liabilities. We should have more stuff rather than investing in assets. So big difference there. And typically it's because people have too much money on liabilities. Those are some definitions.
Cool.
Glossaries.
Do you know what? That wasn't as bad as it sounded.
It wasn't as fucking boring as I was expecting it to be. But I've had arguments with my mum about this.
Right.
And she's like, "Oh, well, buying a house, that's an asset." I'm like, "It's not an asset, mum. It's not an asset." Because, but you can sell it for more money than you made it. Can I? Prove to me in history whenever that has been 100% always the case, no matter what.
And
no
also
matter what.
that you sell it for more than what inflation has gone up by.
Inflation plus the interest.
Plus the interest.
Plus all the fucking bills and stuff I've put on it. Probably not.
Yeah, I was going to say, when does your 200 grand house then make more than the interest? Another 200 grand. All the bills, probably another 200 grand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus inflation, which is probably a ridiculous amount by that point.
Yeah.
Because when you take into account shadow inflation on top of that.
And it's compound.
Yeah. So that's probably close to what? $1 million.
$1 million.
So if you can sell that house for more than $1
just
million.
Sell it. And this is what upsets me. My mum's doing her best. She obviously just wants what's best for me, and that's why. But it's difficult when I have to argue with her and say the house is not an asset; it's a liability. It's not. If you lost the way you can tell if something's an asset or liability is if you lost your job tomorrow, would it still generate you revenue? No, it wouldn't. It would still cost me fucking money, and I would still have to find that money from somewhere.
Yep.
That's how you can tell. And people go, yeah, but I've bought my TV in cash. I've bought my car with cash. Right. Well, if the TV breaks, do you need to buy another TV? Do you need to still pay for Netflix or your TV license? Does your car still need servicing? Does your car still need to have its road tax paid for? All of this stuff costs money.
Yep.
Just because you paid in cash and you haven't borrowed from anyone does not mean it's not a liability.
Yeah.
It's still a liability.
It's still money out of your pocket.
It's still taking money out of your pocket.
Yeah.
Big difference there. And a lot of it as well is your business should own a lot of the stuff. Your business should own as many liabilities rather than you.
Yep.
I want to talk a bit about the negative cash flow cycle.
Cool.
If my laptop will log me in. What I love is that it has this face scan and, of course, with a fucking microphone in front of me.
That's doing well.
Doesn't recognise me.
Doesn't look like you, Mike. I sometimes wonder who you are.
It looks like Mike. He's got a massive silver cylinder coming out of his face.
Can't be him.
Yeah.
Good work, Microsoft.
Yeah. The one thing that everyone's going to have in front of their face at some point, and they haven't built that into the software. Okay, so typical negative cash flow cycle. This is what typically happens when how people get into debt. First of all, we've talked about this already. They confuse liabilities for assets.
Yep.
So they buy liabilities. Now, why do people do that? Why do people buy stuff? Talked about a bit earlier. It's to impress people.
Yeah, because they want it, because they...
You said it last week. The instant gratification.
Yeah.
You know, and they put money into that shit. And they go, oh, this will make me better. Because they see rich people driving that stuff.
Yeah.
So therefore they think, well, if I have that, that means I'm rich. No, it doesn't. It means that you've got more stuff that you've got to pay for every single month.
And now you're living on beans.
Yeah. Now, this does not mean that everyone has to be super frugal and only should be driving a 15-year-old car and never have anything nice. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, until your assets can pay off your liabilities, you shouldn't be buying more liabilities.
Yep.
It's a very, very simple equation.
Yep. And that works up in stages, doesn't it? Because
absolutely.
Your assets will grow if you invest in them. And then that will open the doors to more and more, if you want, expensive liabilities that you have access to.
Yeah. And there's a big difference between your business owning the car and you owning the car.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to own my car. I think I already don't. I think the business takes care of it. Yeah, I use it for personal trips and my accountant sorts that shit out and stuff and whatever. But the reality is, owning stuff, aside from materialism, which I don't think is a problem, I actually empty out our house every once in a while because I want to fill it with more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I like collecting things. Liv has a thing about Christmas decorations. Wherever we go abroad, we try and buy a Christmas decoration.
Yeah, Elena's got that as
well.
I
mean, it's women, which is a good thing, because if it was up to me, Christmas would essentially just be a bare tree.
Just a stick.
Because I had nothing.
Yeah.
Our first Christmas together, I was 29 years old. I had nothing. I had nothing to show for Christmas. And
I'm like that.
Yeah, all these boxes and lovely things. I was like, oh, the house feels really Christmassy and warm. She was like, you can bring yours down now. I was like, you're looking at it, love.
Yeah.
Right. So that's her little thing. She likes to buy stuff, and I like to buy a ball, like a rugby ball, to Australia, New Zealand, or an Aussie rules ball, or an NFL ball and stuff. That's something that I like to collect and have. I like stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference between buying stuff that will continue to cost me money and when I don't have the assets to pay for it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We've dealt with our two shitty cars for a long time now because we didn't need to buy a new one. We're getting close to buying a couple of new ones, but that's now because we have assets to pay for it.
Yep.
So people invest in the wrong things. They invest in liabilities, and they also invest in the wrong assets, or what they think are assets. Cryptocurrency. Sorry to bully you on this. Big one. Big difference between what you've done and others.
It really is, yeah.
Big difference between what you have done and others.
Yeah.
But that's the same with everything. For a time, it was property. Everyone's like, oh, put your money in property. Remortgage this house and buy a second one.
Yeah.
Fucking have a pool on that one and add a couple of cars onto it as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people constantly investing in the wrong assets.
Yeah.
The problem with assets is that they go through cycles, like everything does.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've put all your eggs in the wrong basket, you will fuck yourself over.
Yeah. Yeah, completely.
You know, I kind of hear people talking about, oh, you know, I'm going to buy this car and it's a classic car, I'll pay it off and then it'll be worth more when it's done. No, it won't. If you had 15 cars, maybe the collection might pay it off then.
Yeah.
Chances are it probably won't. Like, just be realistic, and they invest in the wrong assets.
I was going to say, with the one thing with cryptos as well, at the when was it? It was up until December of 2017.
Yeah.
Bitcoin was booming. Bitcoin was up to 20 grand.
Yeah.
In January, at the very beginning of January, it dropped. And throughout January, it fell to, I think, almost around 7.
Yeah.
If anyone invested off the hype in December,
absolutely,
they would have been massively burned and they would have lost their entire investment.
And this is what people do. This is absolutely what people do.
Because they make bad calls off of hype.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, so this is the difference between what we call a level 1 investor and a level 5 investor. A level 1 investor invests, level 3 investor and level 5 investor. I don't have time to get into the specifics of it. A level 3 investor goes, oh, people are talking about Bitcoin and shit, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to put a bunch of fucking money in it and watch it grow. And they do it right at the hype. Someone then gets scared because the entire economy is run based on fear and greed. Right? Yeah. Someone gets scared. They sell all of it. They go, oh my God. The price drops. That's when a level 5 investor buys. Yeah. They know. I think you talked about a few weeks ago that the Japanese candlestick cycles.
Yep.
People don't invest when the hype is going up, who make money? They make money when the price has gone down and everyone's panicking.
when it's literally at the bottom it could be, that's when you buy.
That's so property, 100% the case. In 2008, when everyone was going, oh God, I can't afford my house. Yeah, because it's, 20 times your salary. What the fuck were you thinking? When the prices crashed, that's when people should have been buying property.
Yep.
Same with Bitcoin, same with anything, right? This cycle is what goes through.
Yep.
And the key there, the reason why, the phrase I think people need to remember is profit is made when you buy, not when you sell.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone could have bought when the price was high.
Yep.
Anyone. But it takes someone who knows what they're doing to see, right, the crash has happened. It happens for every new fancy commodity.
Yep.
Anything that's ever been on the market. Facebook did it 2 years before that. Property has just done it. Stocks and shares have done it. It happened in 1987, happened in 1996, happened in 2001. It happens. Profit is made when you buy.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, they know that I'm going to wait until everyone's got this shit out of their system. I'm not going to be emotionally pulled into it.
Yep.
And I'm going to buy then. Right? That's what happens. Big difference between investing in the right areas and the wrong areas.
Yep.
And that also perpetuates the myth that people think, oh, investing's risky and I can lose all my money.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It's not.
It's risky if you don't know what you're fucking doing. Just like getting in a car is risky,
Yep.
Work harder for more debt. Typically, most people then go, we talked about this about last week. They go, well, I'm going to work 8 hours. If I work 10 hours, that means I'll earn more. Yeah, typically, but you'll probably get more debt. And the way that we say this is whatever you spent your last $10 on is probably what you'll spend the next $10,000 on. Mm-hmm. If you bought a liability with your last $10, food or something, maybe that doesn't count. But whatever you spent your last money on, I think I can 100% say, hand on my heart, the last thing I spent 10 quid on was actually putting into my Hargreaves Lansdowne account.
Nice.
Right? And I think I bought a couple of Steam games. I bought a couple of books. There's a big difference in the stuff that I buy as a liability and knowing when I'm putting money as an asset.
Yeah.
Whatever you spent your last $10 on probably is what you'd spend 10 grand on.
Yeah.
So even if you did earn more, you'd probably end up getting into more debt.
Yeah.
That's what happens with lottery winners all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's what they want. That's what they enjoy. That's what they desire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they never know how to keep it.
Yeah.
So to get out of this negative cycle...
How do we do it, Mike?
Well, it's not easy. Is it easy? A lot of it is based around fear to me. A lot of it's around fear. Andrew Craig says this really well in his book. He says, do you know what? Investing might be risky. Okay, there might be risk attached to it. There's a difference between risky and risk. There might be risk attached to it.
Yeah.
But also underperforming and finding out you don't have a pension in 50 years' time, that's also pretty fucking risky.
Yeah.
The easiest way to get yourself out of a negative cycle is to invest in education.
Mm-hmm.
What was the difference in 2 or 3 years ago when we started reading those books?
Yep.
The difference in our mindset towards money. I mean, it almost changed in like a week.
Yeah.
And you and I started having conversations, and Mark as well. And the three of us started talking differently about money more openly, and we were just chatting away and stuff.
Yep.
Like, fuck, this has come from like a few books.
Yeah, reading a few books.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a great one. Richest Man in Babylon. How to Own the World as well by Andrew Craig. I've got a blog post just on books on money.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about another one later. There's courses, there's seminars, there's games, there's webinars, there's events. The more you can invest in understanding money, Rob Moore has done one called Money, which is brilliant. He's an English guy. That to me is the first way to get out of that negative cycle.
Yeah, definitely.
And ask anyone who has got money, and they'll say it's because they read and attend education. Invest in their own education. Your education is the first asset that you can buy relatively cheaply.
Yep.
I believe. Second is look at reducing your liabilities.
Mm-hmm.
Just be honest and go, I really don't fucking need this £6,000 holiday to Mauritius. Like someday, maybe brilliantly, but I really don't need that right now.
Yeah.
I don't believe that consolidating your debt is a good idea, personally. The reason I don't think it's a good idea is because it's sold as a good idea.
Yeah.
And I kind of think...
When something's sold, is it? Yeah. You're just like, is it?
Particularly with money. I would actually argue that listing out your current debts and looking at the smallest one that you could pay off the quickest, and then looking at the one that has the highest interest rates the quickest, that you need to pay them off. Reduce your current liabilities. Find a way to make an extra $200 a month.
Yep.
Anyone can do that. If you don't know how to just make an extra couple of $100 a month, there's something wrong with what you're thinking, and put that money towards paying off your debts and assets, to your debts and liabilities. We talked a bit about this last week. Money is basically who you are. Mm-hmm. Money only accelerates who you are. People go, oh, rich people are assholes. No, they're probably dickheads before they had money. Money just makes them more of a dickhead.
Yeah.
I also know people who are really, really cool, very, very awesome people. More money has just made them more awesome and more cool.
Yeah.
I know people who are dickheads who are poor as well.
Yeah.
So...
That's the thing. Money. People think that money changes you. No, I don't think. Yeah, money just accentuates who you are.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. And this is a big one as well: is cutting down to profitable activities.
Yep.
Stop fucking manually posting everything to Facebook. Pay someone $20 to do it. Mm-hmm. Like, look at activities that generate you profit and revenue.
Yeah.
That's all you should be focused on in your business.
Yep. It's
really easy to be like, yeah, I'm just gonna. I'll do this because it's cheaper. It's not. Find $20 and pay someone else to do it, and take that hour and invest that hour in more education.
Yeah.
I can't afford to not read now. Like, I have to. It's the only way that I can build up this internal asset library for me that allows me to find more assets. We're now thinking about buying a property. Like, a year ago, that would have been seen as impossible. Turns out my situation hasn't changed that much. I don't have much more money than I had last year, but my mindset is completely different.
Yep.
And that's from reading.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, the opportunity to go, well, I could find 10 grand to get this house. Last year, that wouldn't have even occurred to me.
Yep.
But it's because I stopped doing dumb shit that wasn't profitable, investing in my education, and opportunities seem to come around now,
so important.
It's like
really, really important.
Notice how none of these are win the lottery.
Yeah.
Or hope or ask for a raise.
Yeah. It's just like leaving something in somebody else's hands.
Yeah.
And that's just like, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Going back to what we spoke about last week as well, in last week's show, that doing something like learning, you can read a blog post in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
I read a blog post when I make a cup of tea.
Yeah.
I read a blog post when I'm waiting for a bus. I read a blog post where I'm walking down the road, whatever.
Yeah.
Or listening to podcasts or whatever when you're driving, whatever. You can spend that time to learn. There are many, many 4 minutes within the day that you can spare.
That. That's good,
to read and to learn.
Yeah.
And like I said last week, within a week, if you keep reading like 5 things a day, you'll be on top of it, and you'll have such a new outlook on the subject that you're looking into. It'll be ridiculous.
One of the biggest changes we made in our house, which is a relatively small action, is we got rid of the TV from our room, and we now don't charge our phones in our room. Our phones are charged outside, which leaves us with 2 options, right? One of them I'm not going to talk about in the bedroom, right?
Sleep.
Use it. No, I've got those anti-grav hang boots, when you hang yourself upside down and do sit-ups.
Oh, nice.
That was one of the options I was going to say. And the other one is read.
Yeah.
Reading before you go to sleep rather than falling asleep watching TV. I mean, I'm literally a different person. Like, I sleep better, but also I'm just smashing my way through all these incredible authors who have done so much more than me and have been through these problems.
Yep.
And even like 10 pages a day, within a month, that's a pretty hefty book that you can get through.
Yep.
So big difference there.
Yeah, exactly.
And the final point on this one is start building your asset column. You can start with small products, and creating little courses or ebooks.
Yep.
Selling stuff out there. The small drip of money eventually grows, and it's about growing that asset column. I think people then become a bit scared, and they try to dive into other things that are like safe and give you security. But by building back up to building those little products and things, putting 10% away inside a savings account and then using that to buy stocks and shares. And do you know what? Yeah, within 5-10 years, you're probably still not going to see a return on them then. It's not the point. Eventually, the momentum grows up, and the compound effect kind of would generate you far more revenue than you could even spend.
Yeah.
And to me, Rich Dad, Poor Dad probably is the best book to start with if people are
most definitely. Yeah. It lays it out so simply.
Yeah,
and
it really does.
It just opens your eyes to the things that we've been taught as the kind of standard of money,
Yeah.
which is completely wrong.
Yeah. Rob
Um,
Moore Money is really good as well.
Yeah, I haven't read that.
Really good.
I have to give that one a go.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, I think that about does it.
Cool.
Right,
That was really good.
That's
actually.
the economy sorted.
There we go.
Done. Send
Mike
that into
has
the bloody government.
sorted, yeah, exactly. Mike's sorted out the world right there.
Yeah, done.
And
Next week we're doing race.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then religion.
Yeah.
And then we're going to package them up into a little...
into an ultimate guide.
Yeah, exactly.
The ultimate guide to saving the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, man, I could talk about money all day. I know a lot of my guys absolutely love it. I want to talk a bit more about this on the podcast. And,
Yeah, most definitely.
more
It's such an
things.
important topic because I think
Yeah.
look, we're taught as a society to, one, loathe money,
Yes.
and two, not speak about it,
Yeah.
to treat it as something private.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know why.
I think I do. I think it's because there's no conspiracy. People talk about, the Rothschild families, the Rockefeller families. There's no fucking conspiracy with rich people. There really is not. At worst, I can understand why they would take advantages of things in a legal grey area. That does not mean that that's what you have to do.
Mm.
In the same way that if someone drives a car into someone, you don't then go, well, that probably means I'm a killer as well.
Mm.
That's not the case. It's entirely about how you use it and what's applicable, and the more you learn about it. I think it's essentially we don't value making mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
In school, we're taught to not make mistakes repeatedly.
Yeah.
You actually don't get points for making mistakes. You don't get points for understanding mistakes. You
Yeah.
get points for only getting the right answer.
Yeah, that's
The
true.
reason the exam system is so bad is because we can now learn by rote and just fucking spew out some information, get it right, and apparently that means we've learned something.
Mm-hmm.
If I was to make mistakes and then go, oh no, I now understand this because it's been taught to me, I don't get points for that.
Mm.
So therefore mistakes aren't tolerated, which means we're then very fearful of making mistakes. And any kind of fear only grows when it's not educated about.
Mm-hmm.
People used to be in the UK back in the 70s. It was everyone was if you were from India or Pakistan, you're a Paki, right? I don't hear that word anymore now because now it's Muslim people are having a go at them because we're afraid of them.
Yeah.
Education around those types of people is what kills fear.
Yeah.
Education around money is what kills fear. We don't talk about it at school because we're scared of it, and because we're scared of it, we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
It's entirely based around fear.
Yeah.
And it turns out that actually there's a fuck ton of books around there for like 10 quid.
I know, and this is the thing, isn't it? It's so, well, despite all of the amazing free stuff out there online, if you do want it in just physical form, with everything there in one place, if you want to make it easy for yourself, tenner.
Yeah. I think Think and Grow Rich is technically free.
Yes,
you can
it
get
is
a
now.
download free version.
Yeah,
it's,
you can.
It's out of copyright.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Just
Like-
read it. Yeah,
Yeah.
just read it.
So yeah, there's a huge amount of stuff, and if people go, I haven't got the time, go back and listen to last week's episode
Yeah.
before you fucking email in. But yeah, no. So yeah, that's. I think that about wraps it up. You want to go move on to the content report?
Yeah, let's do it. What have you been doing this week, mate?
I'll give you a guess. It's a book on money.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
There it is.
So- Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad. I also read Rich Dad's Guide to Investing, but this week I read The Cash Flow Quadrant, which is after you've read Rich Dad Poor Dad, it's kind of a bit of an expansion upon that. It basically works out this four section quadrant. So you have upper left, upper right, lower left, lower right. It's a square, right? You have E in the top left, I in the bottom left. Sorry. E in the top left, S in the bottom left, B in the top right, and I in the bottom right. Stands for employee, specialist, business, and investor.
Okay.
And it's about the cash flow between people, how they need to move from one quadrant to another, the advantages and disadvantages between them. So look, being an investor isn't all that. It's, works for some people, doesn't work for others.
Yep.
Very, very good book. How Robert talks about money is just fundamentally changing not only how I perceive money, but how people around me perceive money as well.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good book. Again, written out well, lots of little stories. Talks about it in a realistic way you can assimilate with it.
Okay.
But it basically talks about how if all of your money comes through as an employee, you are mortgaging your future, because the reality is that pensions and stuff are not going to be around in 20 to 30 years' time.
Yep.
Big misunderstanding. People go, oh, yeah, but I have a private pension. No, you don't. No one does. Globally, people don't have private pensions. If you have a pension, the government controls it.
Yeah.
The government is already spending your pension.
Yeah.
Even if it's a private pension, the government has control of it. And it's about the stages between educating yourself. So yeah, very, very, very good book. The Cash Flow Quadrant.
Cool.
Just bang my arm into the door.
Do that. So you got to pay for that.
More liability.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's what I've been reading, man. What about you?
Cool. Yeah, slightly different. I'm still on the kind of optimizing my site and my email funnels and all of that for Brand Snack. So I have been reading a really good article actually on how to make your landing pages a bit smoother.
Yep.
Another really good article by Digital Marketer.
Love those guys.
Mate, seriously, like this is it. Like reading a blog post 4 minutes a day.
Yeah.
I've been bashing through so much of their stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's so useful.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, I know exactly how I should be moving forward with things.
Yeah.
It's just,
and it shows you that other people have had these problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there is a solution.
Yeah, and it's like, that's exactly what I've been looking for. Or if it wasn't that, it's like, I didn't even realize you could do that. That's brilliant. That's opened my eyes to something completely new. Yeah. Now I'm going to start researching and learning about that.
Yeah.
Because that's really going to help me and that's going to push me to where I want to be. So yeah, this one's basically about reducing landing page friction.
Awesome.
So when people go through your landing page, it needs to flow. It needs to bring them from it's basically like a funnel in itself. It needs to bring them from the very top of it for when they come in, all the way down to the conversion by the end of it. So they go through basically 3 main steps or 3 main points to look at. So the first one is requiring less steps. So the more kind of hoops and things that you make people jump through, or the more options and stuff you give someone, the more difficult it is for them to just say yes. So trim it down, make it as easy as possible.
I think one of the examples they give is like when you buy something on Amazon Prime, it's like, do you want the video in HD or SD, or do you want to rent it in HD or buy it in HD? And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
The film.
Just
is
give me
what
the
I want.
Do you want the film? Yes.
Yeah.
Just the button that says.
It's one of the
yes.
reasons actually. It's the kind of this friction thing is, why piracy has been dropping. Internet piracy.
Yeah.
Because Netflix is 2 buttons.
Yep.
To watch 15 trillion hours worth of content.
Yeah. Same with Spotify for music.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As opposed to downloading it, finding the fucking VPN, opening. Used to use Deluge.
Yes.
Opening Tor to fucking get around your internet provider because they go, we've blocked this site.
Yeah.
Finding a torrent site that works. Finding a link that isn't spam.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely reducing friction, man. Huge within your business.
Exactly. Asking often. So actually saying like,
that's good.
Do you want to buy this? Like, can I help you?
Yeah. That's good.
There's a lot of landing pages which go through the entirety of the sales pitch and don't let you buy it until the end. That's when the buy now button is.
Yeah.
Most people probably won't get down to there.
Yeah.
So why not at the very beginning just say, you know what, here's the benefits. This is what we can do for you. Do you want it?
That's really good. I like that. That's good.
And then finally, if my mouse works, there we go. So show and tell. So this is all about showing them what they're going to get.
Yeah.
Don't just kind of describe it. Actually show them. So if you've got a course, put a video up of what's included in it.
Yeah.
If you've got a book, give them a sample chapter.
Yep.
Just actually.
I give away the whole fucking book, and even then people still don't want it. No, it's good though. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So yeah, just show them. I still haven't read it.
Yeah, I know you haven't.
So you keep coming up with all these bloody book ideas every single show.
Yeah.
That
Are you saying that my book is not as important as Robert Kiyosaki or Napoleon Hill?
Of course not. Mate. Of course not.
How incredibly rude.
Never say that.
Yeah, I know. It's on the fucking shelf behind me as well. Yeah, I've seen it. Still in its pristine mint condition.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking the pages aren't even scuffed. He hasn't even attempted to make it look like he's read
I haven't even opened it.
Right.
I haven't even opened it.
And when he does,
the
he'll see
spine is
why I
still
know he
intact.
hasn't read it, because inside it's just the word "fuck James" written over and over again.
Yeah.
I specifically got this one made just for you. Yeah, but no, showing people, absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, people, they're really hesitant to do this, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Why?
Yeah, I mean, if you're proud of the thing that you're selling, and if you know it delivers value to people, shout about it, show
Yeah.
it, let people see it.
It'd be like saying, "Do you want to buy this house?" Oh, I'd love to have a look around inside. Oh, can't do that till you bought it.
Yeah,
Oh, don't worry about it.
you
then.
can see it from the outside.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Whenever I look on Rightmove
Yeah.
and they have those ones
Yeah.
that are just literally the front of the house.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, that's pointless.
So a murder was committed inside.
Yeah, what
That's
is
the
it?
only thing I
What,
can
the
assume.
fucking bat cave?
Yeah.
Which would probably be quite cool, actually. But, do I want to live there? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, why would you do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Show people.
Yeah, that's good. That's a great point.
So yeah, just 3 like really.
So which one's that? It's called Reduce Landing Page Friction.
Yes, yeah, and yeah, just one of their many incredibly useful articles.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Love those guys.
really good.
Cool, man.
Cool.
I think
All
that
right,
about
guys.
does it. What are you up to this weekend?
I am. What am I doing? I'm selling my car. Talking about cars,
Yeah,
getting rid of liabilities, mate.
yeah.
That's what
there
I'm
you go.
doing.
Yeah, you are. You love it.
So I need some bit of cash flow.
Yeah, there you go. Selling the old Beamer, mate.
Yeah, so that's going.
All right.
Just because we don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've got the other family car, which
Your 2
works
children
from
can
our
drive.
wife. Yeah, absolutely fine.
Yeah, 18
like
months and 2
2.5
or
years.
whatever. Yeah.
They're
Whatever.
all good.
Yeah.
So yeah, doing that, mate. How about you?
Looking after the dog. A couple of mates coming around. That's about it. I think I'll try and do some work on Saturday.
Fit it in.
Fucking rock and roll, mate.
Nice, mate.
I might play. I got a Steam Link,
Oh yeah.
which like allows me to play my Steam PC games through my TV. So
Okay.
I might play a bit of that. But apart from that, I might go a chilled one this week because I'm still a bit knackered from the
Axe
the
throwing.
awesome axe throwing stag do that I had.
Nice.
Right.
Cool.
Speak
Okay,
to you
guys.
later then, man.
We will see you next week. Bye bye.
If you liked this episode, please subscribe to the Sell Your Brand show on iTunes or your favourite podcast app and leave a rating and a review. It makes us feel all warm and fuzzy inside when we hear we're not just talking rubbish. If you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show, drop us an email to podcast@sellyourbrandshow.com and we'll feature it in a future episode.